Hi and welcome to my channel. I'm Simon and today I'm delighted to be telling you all about the Women's Prize Shortlist 2021, which has just been announced on their social media, and so I'm going to have a chat with you about the 6 titles. Just to let you know, I did mention in a video that I did just to letting you know that I did mention / tease that I would be sharing my mother's response to the shortlist as well, because me and my mum read the long list, not together exactly, we read it at the same time, we don't talk to each other about it at all when we're catching up about other stuff, because making the video we made yesterday where we talk about the long list for the first time and share opinions is so much fun. We try and keep it a secret. We also don't talk about our order of preference because we do that with the real shortlist once it's been announced, like today, and before the winners announced, when we do a video, like I said, going through the shortlist in our order of preference and trying to predict a winner. Anyway, that clip of my mum responding to the shortlist will be attached to this in a bit. But before it is, I'll tell you all about the 6 shortlisted books, which I've given the first one away because you could see it when I was putting it up in the air. And that is The Vanishing Half by Bennett, which I am thrilled is on the list. I read this last year and I absolutely loved it. I have to say, I think I'm going to reread it before me and mum do our video where we put the shortlist in order, because it does feel like a while since I've read it. This initially is a tale of 2 twin sisters who run away from home. I think it's in the 1950s in America, and one passes as white and so carries on living as a white woman, and the other doesn't and carries on living as a black woman, and it's how their lives progress from there, and also then later on heads to their children. I think it's amazing. I think it's a book that not only is a real page turner and you can't put down, but also is immensely readable whilst dealing with really big topics, particularly around race, but also other things as other characters come to the fore. So yeah, I just think it is fantastic, and I'm looking forward to reading it again before the winner is announced. Then we have Susannah Clarke's Piranesi, which is a book I was quite nervous about reading, and I have to say I wasn't a huge fan of Jonathan Strange and Mr. Laurel. I thought it was too long, but I did enjoy some of it, and then really enjoyed the adaptation actually on the BBC. Anyway, this, I have to say, I started and I was a bit like, what is this? And it was quite tricky to kind of get my head around it, but also it was quite slow and a bit, I was like, am I going to get on with this? But because it was on the long list and I wanted to read the long list cover to cover, and with I think one exception and one that I haven't mentioned yet but I'm going to finish but isn't on the shortlist, I carried on, and I'm so glad I did, because there is a reveal in this book that I'm not going to spoil at all, but really looks at how the brain copes with trauma and what it does when I guess it's under attack in a sort of psychological way. That is all I will say, but I thought how she writes about how the brain deals with that and trauma was phenomenal, and it really kind of gave the book an extra dimension, as it were. And yeah, I just thought it was great fun as well, actually, whilst again having some kind of quite deep topics and dark topics around it. Then we have Claire Fuller's Unsettled Ground. This is another one that I predicted would be on the shortlist, as the previous 2. And this is about a brother and sister who are in their 40s. Their mother dies. They've all been living together in this sort of dilapidated, ramshackle house where they don't have very much money, and when they do, they keep it in a tin. And it's how, after their mother's death, they cope with the modern world. And this book, I just think it's got this delicious gothic nature to it, but also, again, like I've just mentioned with the previous books, actually I'm going to mention again, looks at really it looks at quite difficult subject matter, and also gives real perspective into other people's lives that I don't think are often seen in fiction. Actually, this is something that I will say definitely about this book. I would say actually out of the others, it's something that I don't feel like I've read much about before. So yeah, I thought this was great too. As I did the 4th book on the list, which is another one that I predicted will be on the list. That is Transcendent Kingdom by E.R. Jesse. Now, those of you who have been watching this channel a while will know that I struggled with homegoing, and I was a little bit nervous about this one, but I thought this was amazing. I thought the way it looks at Gifty as a young woman who is a scientist, a black young woman who is a scientist and is looking at addiction because of something that has happened to her past, and is kind of this real subject of love, but also she's really passionate to work out what is going on with addiction, plus the complicated relationship with her mother, and also her looking at science versus God. well, not always verses, but like science and God, how can they even sort of run alongside each other. I thought, yeah, it was really, really good. Very, very emotional book too. Then a book that was my the fifth title on the list and was my fifth prediction, is How the One-Armed Sister Sweeps Her House by Cherry Jones. Now, I will say that this book is a really, I started this book at one point and couldn't finish it because I couldn't really even get into it because it was so full on from the beginning. Like, everything traumatic is in this book, pretty much, I would say. That said, I think it's such an important read because, one, it deals with all those things, I think, really sensitively, although also shockingly, but it's not done in a kind of voyeuristic way at all, or for sales. It's literally, this is the story of these people in a place called Paradise, which is not at all like Paradise. It's completely the opposite. And also, but looks at all different walks of life within Paradise. Yeah, I just thought it was utterly brilliantly done when I managed to finish it the second time, so would highly recommend. Now, this was a book that was not on my shortlist. It was on my mum's shortlist, actually, because I was so on the fence about it, and I still am, to the point where it's giving me splinters. And it's one that I may have to reread, actually. It's No One Is Talking About This by Patricia Lockwood. Now, this is kind of a book of two parts, really. The first is about a woman who is so embedded in social media that she sort of forgets the real world until the real world comes very much to the fore, and she has to really, really face it. That's all I will say. And I loved that element about it. But sometimes when I was reading it, I was like, I don't understand that sentence. I can't quite work out where that sentence has come from. It's beautiful. Does it make sense? What's going on here? And I think for that, I need to head back and give it a reread, because in part, I absolutely loved it. But in part, I was just a bit baffled by it. But never in a like, oh, I don't like it way, just a, huh? Way. So yeah, I need to go back and read this one again, I think. But there they are. Those are the 6 books that are up for the Women's Prize this year. And I think it's a really, really, really brilliant shortlist, I have to say. And one that I'm really looking forward to discussing with my mother before the winner is announced in July. So look forward to that video in due course. In the interim, though, I will hand over to the end of us recording yesterday so that you can see that we didn't cheat, and me revealing what the actual shortlist is compared to the shortlist that we predicted. So yeah, I'll leave you on that note, and I will see you on Friday for a live with Lena, where we will also be talking about our thoughts on the shortlist. So expect some hot tea on that front. And we'll also be talking about authenticity on the internet, buying lots of books, and other shenanigans that you want us to chat about, because we'll be live. So yeah, right, I'll hand over to me and my mum, and I'll see you soon. So I will be doing a video with the shortlist reveal tomorrow, which may or may not include my mother's reaction to the shortlist at the end of that video, so you'll have to see. But until then, it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me.
Bye. I never wave. Right, so now, are you ready for the real shortlist?
Are you?
I feel a bit tense.
I do.
And see, I haven't even opened the spreadsheet or anything. It's opening. It's opening. The shortlist is Brit Bennett's The Vanishing Half.
Yes.
Susannah Clarke's Piranesi.
Whoa.
Claire Fuller's Unsettled Ground.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that.
Yar Jass's Transcendent Kingdom.
Yeah.
How the One-Armed Sister Sweeps Her House by Cherry Jones, and Patricia Lockwood's No One Is Talking About This.
Ooh, I love that shortlist.
There we go. I'm going to try.
I am so happy with that shortlist. Are you?
Yes, but I'm trying to find them all. So, but actually, can I just say, I got 5 right.
Well, it isn't a question of it being right. I got
Like
1, 2.
You know what I mean?
I got 4. No. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 4.
Hang on, I'm getting.
I agreed with 4.
So that's the actual shortlist there. There we go.
Right, and that's that. Oh, I don't know why I'm holding that up. I'm being.
Mum's holding her shortlist up because she should be a judge. Hers is better. story.
I'm just copying you, or I thought I was.
But this is the real one.
Yeah, I take my lead from you, Simon. You're the professional.
Well, listen, now you've got your ring light. I'm expecting nothing but professionalism.
Wow.
So there we go.
Disappointed.
So we will be discussing this selection of books in our preferred order, which we haven't given away at all. So this could be really interesting. This is where we could disagree a whole heap, because actually this is going to be a tough. That's tough. Tough. So yeah, but we'll be talking about that in July, although we might record it before when we're together in a few weeks, hopefully. So yeah, that is the shortlist. And again, it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me.
Bye. I nearly copied you then. Ooh.